FBA Milk, Foundational Black Americans. I've been baking a lot of bread these days and thinking about bread, our daily bread and nutrition. And also, I've been getting raw milk from a local homestead. When I look at pictures like this, as we are in the 250th birthday year of America, I think about milk, and the role of mothers, women. And when you look at such a photograph like this, historical photograph, as they say, a picture speaks a million words. I'm sure everybody would think different things. You know, this can be used as caricature and mockery. And it can also be looked at as love, nourishment, trust, hospitality, dignity, even. Humanity. And trust is the thing that I think about. Trust on both sides, because why would you give your baby over to a savage, right? Whatever was talked about back then in culture. Why would you hand your baby over to someone that you didn't trust to love your child? But this is so intimate, to feed your child milk. It's amazing. What else is amazing right now is this sentiment of Black fatigue currently in culture, American culture. Black fatigue, yes. Unpacking such a thing, especially in retrospective observation of America's 250th birthday anniversary. What kind of report card would America get? This experiment. When I look at the face of this foundational Black American woman, fatigue doesn't even touch the reality. Look at her face and tell me about fatigue. How about the fatigue of constantly being reclassified and labels changing with generations? Confusion about identity and unique claims to the land that we call America. When you look at the face of this foundational Black American, just know that slavery was not her origin story. Look at her clothing and understand one thing. She didn't get this online, shopping at Amazon or Shein. She more than likely made this dress herself, because that's what we did back then. And just know that she can trace her ancestors back only to this land of America. In the family tree of the foundational Black American, there are no Africans because she is the archivist who gives the oral history, who kept the Bibles with the names in them, and none of them were African. Her ancestors had tribal names like the Creek, the Chickasaw, the Seminole. Do I need to name more? Because that is really the issue. Names, identities, classifications. And that is where we are right now in American history. We are at a reckoning point, and the books are open. And in this 250 years, we can evaluate this American experiment. How did America do in governing her people? In this 250 years, what would the founding fathers say? Founding fathers, fathers being the operative word. A father protects the women and the children. Fathers protect their homes from interlopers, invaders, anybody who would break in and steal, kill, or destroy. Fathers are the wall, the perimeter, the threshold. You see, America stopped defining itself as a people and began defining itself as an idea. But ideas don't have borders. Peoples do. And every civilization in history understood that. But somewhere along the way, America convinced itself that the less it resembled a distinct civilization, the more virtuous it became. And that's not a good experiment. It may be unprecedented, but now that we look at this 250 years, how did America do? Foundational Black Americans don't see themselves as standing outside of the American story, but inside its oldest unfinished chapter, because their ancestors did not immigrate into America. America basically happened to them. And that creates a different relationship with the land. The genealogy doesn't begin at any airport or port of any kind. It begins in American soil. Whether the history contains triumph, horror, invention, military service, farming, industry, church life, music, or rebuilding after catastrophe. It is an American story from beginning to end. That's why identity feels different. One thing I've noticed is how often every modern movement borrows from the imagery of the civil rights era. If you need moral authority, you borrow from Selma. If you need symbolism, you borrow from Birmingham. If you need legitimacy, you borrow from Martin. Borrow the bridge, borrow the songs, borrow the language, borrow the photographs. The civil rights movement became America's universal moral vocabulary. Everybody reaches into that toolbox. Very few stop to ask, who built it? And I've noticed another pattern. For decades, diversity became the answer before anyone finished asking the question. Different conversations, same conclusion. Education, more diversity. Corporations, more diversity. Entertainment, more diversity. Government, more diversity. Immigration, more diversity. Nobody ever paused long enough to ask whether every institution has an optimal point before diversity becomes fragmentation. Maybe societies like ecosystems have balance points, and maybe cohesion matters also. And people tell us that America has always been a melting pot. I don't think that's the whole story. America certainly absorbed immigrants throughout its history, but every nation also decides how it maintains continuity. Assimilation used to be part of that bargain. Now, multiculturalism often feels like parallel societies occupying the same geography. If everyone keeps one foot emotionally planted somewhere else, eventually nobody agrees where home actually is. And here's another observation. The founding fathers worried constantly about divided loyalties. That concern wasn't invented yesterday. Read enough early American writing and you'll notice recurring questions. Who governs? Who owes allegiance? Who ultimately belongs to the political community? Those questions never disappeared. We just stopped asking them. But history has a funny way of bringing forgotten questions back. Being foundational Black American gives a really unusual vantage point. People naturally assume that they would reject the founding fathers altogether. But because America is their ancestral home too, then its constitutional architecture belongs to their inheritance as much as anyone else's. And it's not despite ancestry, but it is because of ancestry. And there is no contentment in letting anyone interpret American history while reducing the foundational Black Americans' experience to one chapter about slavery and another about civil rights. We was Kangs. Oh yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Foundational Black Americans were builders, soldiers, inventors, musicians, farmers, railroad workers, teachers, entrepreneurs, scientists, church mothers, barbers, craftsmen, taxpayers, voters, generations upon generations. Nostalgia is nice and interesting, but right now, repair is more interesting. You can't restore a house if you refuse to identify which beams are load bearing. Foundational Black Americans are one of America's load bearing beams. Not the only one, but certainly one. And remove enough load bearing beams, and eventually the entire structure starts talking back through cracks. And maybe that's what 2026 feels like, a house talking. Is it the house that MLK said that he led his people into? One that was on fire? I ask, just wondering. America's renewal and continuity is rooted in its oldest covenant, which is the Constitution. And the Constitution speaks of a republic. Is this republic still standing? That's the question.